Hey, what's going on, my friends? Hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic. I've got a new camera, the ZV-1F. So what's the ZV-1F? ZV-1F is like here, and the ZV-1 is here. It's got a wider lens, and it's cheaper. It's what everyone has wanted. But why would you get that when you can just use your smartphone? I mean, it's pretty much the same as a smartphone, right? But the smartphone can do text messages, look on Instagram, and so why would you have this kind of camera? Well, we're going to be trying to, discuss that today and see why you would actually purchase the ZV-1F. And for majority of people, this probably isn't for you, but then it could be for you because travel photography, videography, vlogging, basic point and shoot, daily life stuff, live streaming, video podcasting, this could be a decent camera. And I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just here to present to you about this camera and is it good? And I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of real world usage. So I've recorded this a couple of times now, and the autofocus it keeps pulsing. It keeps pulsing. I've got it on just regular autofocus now. I had it on face tracking. I'll put it on face tracking again and see if this is on my eye. So it seems to be tracking my eye, but is it pulsing right now? It was pulsing in the video that I was trying to do an intro, and I'm really afraid that it's going to be pulsing all day today. So I really don't know how this is going to be performing. We will soon find out. I've looked into the settings and there aren't any autofocus settings as opposed to, what is different in the A7 IV and all those alpha cameras. I really hope this is going to be good when it comes to autofocus, but we're probably just going to utilize the A7 IV footage in this intro. Okay, so I think I've figured it out. I'm going to be talking about some optimal autofocus settings with the ZV-1F at the end because this is actually, just looking through this, the camera is almost dropped now. Yeah, some of the stuff at the end is actually filmed a few weeks later, and I think I've figured out the autofocus. It still pulses a little bit, so it's pre-production firmware, so potentially they'll fix it, but there are some better ways of doing autofocus when it comes to this camera. And if the autofocus is hunting in and out, well, that's because user error, and now I've figured out the best way of autofocus in this camera. So I think they need to make it a little bit easier or fix that issue so no one else has this issue. Okay, I just want to jump in here and say that this video about this camera is going to be completely different to all my other videos. I really want to put this in a scenario where I'm literally just pointing and shooting like everyone else would while using this. And I just want to see how good this is in the real world and not sugarcoat it or anything. This is going to be 100% raw. So hopefully you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Comment below what you think on this camera as well. Okay, well, let's quickly jump into some of the specs and then we can get back into the video. So the ZV-1F is Sony's newest entry-level point and shoot camera. It has a 1-inch Type Exmor RS sensor and it has a 20mm f2.0 lens for nice wide angle views. It has the product showcase mode, which actually gives you a little bit of depth of field when you're actually showing a product. It's able to shoot 4K at 25 frames per second in 4208-bit, and it can do 5 times slow motion in HD. There is an easy live stream function by simply connecting it to the USB cable and to your computer. It has a fully articulating touchscreen and a swipe-up menu for fast, easy access. And it is the cheapest camera of the ZV line. Got a photo shoot down the Gold Coast with Joanna. I've got a multi-video that I need to do with the FX30. And I've also got Fright Night. Fright Night's exciting. Fright Nights, if you don't know what Fright Night is, essentially it's like, have you guys got Movie World? If you know what Movie World is down the Gold Coast, essentially it's like a theme park and it's based on films. So Warner Brothers films and all those kind of things like Batman, Superman, all those kind of rides. This one, every October on the weekends, they have a thing called Fright Night. So essentially, it's a whole bunch of actors literally in movie world. They've paid all these actors and they're specific horror characters and they're just walking around trying to scare people and they're in character and it's awesome. And then there's like mazes and stuff that you have to go through, specific mazes that are film based. And then you've got escape rooms, you've got little short films and stuff. When it comes to horror, it's such an incredible atmosphere, incredible night, and I cannot wait to capture it with this thing. I mean, we're gonna be testing it because low light, and this is active steady shot. There's no IBIS, so active steady shot works on really good lighting situations and high shutter speeds. So this is going to be a very tough test, but we can at least test the active steady shot in low light. We can test the low light because it's an f2. It's a new f2 20mm lens. This is a Sony a7 IV right now. You're hearing this through my regular microphone through the a7 IV, but then you can also hearing this through the microphone on the ZV-1F. We're literally a hand distance away from the camera. So this is what it sounds like if you were to be vlogging. But we're gonna be doing sound tests later on anyway, but there's a few little key differences between the ZV-1 and ZV-1F. This is obviously cheaper. It's so good that it's this cheap, and you know, this could be something that you could literally just throw into your bag, forget about it, and then if you need it, you've got it there. Rather than utilizing your phone and trying to vlog on this, text messages, calls come through, and you're like, get away, get away. But let's get down to Gold Coast. Let's go see Joanna. Let's do this photo shoot with this FX30. Let's do this video shoot with the FX30 and Muay Thai and Fright Night. I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are excited to see what Fright Night's all about. This is literally always the fun when I have a shoot, because I have to go down my FX6, being careful, down all the stairs. But got it down pat now. Well, time to head down to Gold Coast and go shoot some content. Whoa,
oh
look how
God,
small this camera is.
It's so little.
It's cute. Say hello to the camera. Who are you?
Joe.
Joe. So long story short here, I use the ZV-F as pretty much just a BTS camera to capture some of the stuff that obviously if I didn't have a BTS videographer, I could literally just sit the camera down and just let it roll the whole time. And this is where I was trying to capture using the FX30 first time in a couple of professional sets with Joanna as a model, and I did a Muay Thai shoot as well, but let's skip to the good parts. What's going on, guys? So you're seeing me on the ZV-1F. This is the newest camera dropped by Sony, and this is pretty much the audio is coming directly out of the microphone as well. We are here on Gold Coast, Australia. This is called Fright Night. So essentially every October, they do this whole Fright Night thing, and there's actors everywhere, in costume, all the thriller, the horror movies that you've seen, the actors are in there, which is awesome. They are spot on pretty much all the time. This year, obviously a couple of years out from COVID. Is this the first year from COVID, I think, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it was pretty busy. Some of the lines were actually quite busy, but we did an escape room. We didn't escape. That sucks. It was only a 20-minute escape room, so it was a tough one. So pretty much the whole night we filmed on automatic everything. So essentially this is what would, this is the kind of demographic that you would actually have with, God damn. This is the kind of demographic that would be buying at this camera, is people who just want to put it in auto, point and shoot. I mean, that's the whole point of a point and shoot, is you literally just point and shoot and hope for the best. Kind of like an iPhone, but the whole point of this video is to see if this is actually useful in comparison to an iPhone. Okay, so this is wide autofocus, and it's got eye autofocus on. The background is blurred out. This is meant to be the product showcase right now, and all you need to do is click one button, and essentially that's, you know, increases that depth of field, so you don't actually have a shallow depth of field. I'm not 100% sure what the f-stop is right now because it doesn't show you, but what you can actually do as well is click the photo, video, and SNQ button, and it'll completely get rid of the product showcase. So I'll do that right now. So what does it actually look like right now? So this is pretty much just in f2.0, it's in shutter 1/50th of a second, and auto ISO, so it'll adjust whatever it needs to in terms of exposure. But this one seems to be a lot better than Product Showcase. Product Showcase, it tends to hunt a little bit too much for my liking when it comes to autofocus, and yeah, it's very distracting, and hopefully they will fix that in the firmware because this is a pre-production copy, but this is definitely the better way of actually shooting, not having that product showcase and having a little bit more depth in that. And it's at f2, but it should look a little bit better. Well, yeah, it doesn't really look any better. It still has that little bit of focus hunting in the background, and you can see it on the slider in the background. It's just like this really small focusing, it's distracting to me. It's probably not going to be distracting anyone else. And did you see that auto ISO correction at the start? I mean, what? This is why I never put auto ISO on, because it just tries to really do some weird things with the exposure. But hey, this is aimed at beginners and they don't know how to do manual exposure. And a lot of people will just be putting it in auto exposure. That is perfectly fine, but yeah, that was a bit weird, but at least it corrected it and put my skin tones back to normal. And still that focusing issue, I don't know. I had it in the product showcase first and I thought, that wasn't great. So I turned it to, increase that depth of field, and it did look better because the focus wasn't so thin. So I think the biggest thing I would actually recommend is don't shoot wide open, because at the moment, I just don't think that autofocus is quite there yet. It tends to do that little bit of focus hunting, and even in not the product showcase mode, it's still, I mean, technically product showcase is the same. It's at f2, it just puts it to f2, or it puts it to, f5.6 or something. So yeah, maybe just defocus everything and make sure that the depth of field is quite far away. And you have a lot of depth and you can actually see the background. That's probably your best bet when it comes to autofocus. Yeah, so they're gonna have to get on top of that, but Sony will definitely get on top of that, because I will email them as well to tell them that there is an autofocus problem and it's, hunting a little bit. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, give it a thumbs up. That would be absolutely amazing. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and the link will be in the description below if you do want to check out the ZV-1F. Link will be in the description below if you want to check out my LUTs as well. But what do you think about the ZV-1F? Do you think it's a really good camera? I mean, it's pretty decent for the size, and for someone who would do webcam stuff and travel vlogs and all those kind of things, like, it does a decent job. It definitely does a decent job. And I think it's still better than the iPhone. The iPhone just, you want to keep this as a quick camera if you don't have anything like this, and just whip it out and get some family videos and post it to Instagram. But you could do the same with this, just slightly better image quality. But yeah. Anyway, see you guys in the next one. All right, let's get it.